Well, this is where the action is in Yankee Upholstery over here in Stafford Springs. And it's starting to get nice, the weather outside, and we're working inside making the product that you people and your family can enjoy. First time that this thing's been together since it's been disassembled. The people that made this originally, they probably took it apart a hell of a lot more time than we did because they made it. They made the carvings, they did all that. But we want to make sure that everything's fit right. I mean, because if we take it apart, I mean, we got to put it back and we got to get the look right again. We will we'll oil that up. Because we gave it a coat of oil last time, but it was all lumpy and bumpy, and I wanted to knock it down with a little steel wool and then hit it again with that, and it made a big improvement. So what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna do the seat. And I don't have to explain to you again because you've seen the whole show. And the great thing about having your own show like this is that you can rewind it over and over again and I don't have to repeat myself. And we made the seat, we sprung it before that, fixed the frame. We're all ready to go to put some fabric on tonight. So we got this polyester that's gonna go over the top because you got a real firm seat. And these things are hardly plush. And I'd rather have it nice and firm like this because it'll look nice. The lines of it will always look good and people can sit on it. And it feels like the firmness of when it was original. Some people that they don't know anything, they're just gonna upholster right over the top of that. It'd be terrible to do that. You have to have some give. Something that you've got the real springs underneath, you've got the foam, and it's all pushing. And then in the end, this is like the icing on the cake. This is what it is. This is the icing on the cake. It even looks like icing. And I don't think we're gonna be okay. This is gonna help take out a lot of, give it a more crowned look to it, a little bit more. It's gonna give absolutely a more finished look. If you didn't have it, it'd be terrible looking. This is incredibly bulky. The reason why I chose the polyester, it was just more uniformed and it tend to have a little bit more push, a little bit more body to it. I'm gonna cut some strips here of cotton. And you shall see what I'm going to do with that. So we have an indentation right there because of that. So now we're going to fill it in with some cotton. We want something dense. The polyester isn't so dense, but it takes up a lot of the imperfections that you have. So now, we take our strips. Yeah. Put that in there. And you won't feel, when you put the polyester over the top of that, you won't feel a little bit. And you could probably even get away with not even doing that. But we want a nice little rounded area there. You can see the front of the nose there, how the edge roll is curved like the wood, the way it's cut. It's following the line of that. And that's very unique though. It gives it a lot of character, that. And when I look at that piece, when it's going to be done, it's going to be pronounced. That it's going to be one of the beautiful things to see on that piece, to have a curved front like that, because they could have made it just solid, flat, and and it would just, it's one of the little extra things when they made this to make it that much nicer. So now we're gonna measure the fabric to do what we're gonna do here. We're gonna put it on the seat here. So we want something to work with. We don't wanna be working with the tips of our fingers. Sometimes you have to in this business, but we're gonna make it bigger than what it is. So hang it over the side about a good 4 or 5 inches. So we got 70 inches by the widest point here in the back. Remember, 70 by 33. That's right. So we're gonna mark it here. What's great about this type of fabric that you work with that has these shapes is that you have your lines. You don't have to take your straight edge out. You just go by the lines here, cut. We're gonna allow a little extra over here. We wanna have something to work with. And there's times when you're doing upholstery work too, that the certain frame designs and the way the fabric's gotta go, and you're not working with much. Sometimes you're working with a 1/4 inch with your fingers. That's why my fingers are so strong. And this is what the lady had chosen for her selection here. This is what she wanted. There was a piece in the shop that was already done with this. So, you know, another person will walk in and see this sofa here and say, man, I love that thing. And I got people's pictures of their faces of other people that I've worked with this fabric over the years. And it's a popular one. And over here, the logical center we're going to be is right here. That's the center. So we're going to make a little mark here just on the wood with the chalk. And it'll come right off, and that way we know. So we want one of these lines are going to be in the center. It's the most logical place to put it. Everything must be proportioned in size and placement for it to look right. So what you do, you pin it into place. Because if you just put it on there and you staple it down, I mean, we're all tempted to do that, and a lot of times you can do it and it's fine. But if you staple it all down and you're not happy, or you miss something and you want to change it, then you're going to have to pull a lot of staples out. There's more time. So it's going to look really nice. And some people would envision a lot of these pieces with like a red velvet or a tapestry, or I've done a lot of these pieces with this really nice black Italian tapestry. You can see it on the Yankee Upholstery Facebook page of some of the jobs that I did. But some of them really spectacular when you have a vibrant imported Italian tapestry on there. It looks incredible. So what I do is I'm going to pin it. That's my center. And what I did here is I know where the center is on the piece because you've got the medallion. You've got that wood decoration in the middle there. And that's the center. And sometimes on these older pieces too, and we talk about the craftsmen and stuff in the olden days, and there was a lot of good ones. And many times it is off center. But you still, if you have a floral bouquet, it has to be there. That's where your eyes is going to look. Over here is going to be a little bit of a critical area, because where this frame is this arm comes, we want a little bit of that fabric, I assume, from my memory, without mocking it up one more time, that this piece of this fabric in the front is going to go over and attach once it's been put on there. We do the final stapling, and we take that fabric and put it over the seam where those two are to help hide that joint right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that. I'm going to make this relief a cut here so that we got extra to play with over there. Cut going around here. Like I said, we want to keep some of this room. We did have some more room than expected on this, than anticipated, but so we could put a little something there. But I don't want to push it. So we have that in the back. The back will go up against that. You never see it. And we keep this area clean, tidy here. And that's the edge roll you're hearing there. That's nothing else. That's not wood, that's edge roll. And I'm kind of just working my way, nice and uniform. Look how nice and straight that pattern is in the front. That's beautiful. That is really, really nice. You see how it's got the shape. Remember I talked about the shape of the curve in the front? It looks, it's much more noticeable, like we talked about. You know, when you're doing something like this, I talk a lot more in the beginning episodes because there was more to talk about. But when you're tacking this on, it's important what we're doing, but there's only if this is the easiest part. The preparation in these pieces of furniture or anything in my trade, that's where the time is. Now, you've seen a lot of things that can cause a lot of pain in my shop. This would be the worst. This would inflict serious pain if you get near that steam with your hand. It's instant. I don't care who you are. If you're half dead, you'll have some serious motor reflex action. So what we're gonna do here, it's very hot. This thing is one of the things you're gonna use in my trade. There's some people that don't use it. They don't use a steamer, and their jobs show it. But this is what this does is it's gonna relax it. If you look closely, you're gonna see the lines go away. You see that? The pulls. With certain fabrics, it almost acts like a shrink wrap. It'll relax it, it'll tighten up areas and relax other areas, and it'll make it more uniform. Boy, that steamer's hot, boy, let me tell you. Now here, we're gonna measure the arms. Now the arms are tricky here because you've got slopes. You've got top to bottom slope where it wraps around. Then it's gonna have to wrap around the front, and it's gonna have to be hidden behind that arm, that finished wood part there that's nice and shiny over there. Now, what do we got here? That ain't quite 20, it's 26. I think we might be able to do it 26. Yeah, we could do that. Always have the fabric running the same way because there's sheen differences and stuff. Sometimes you'll really notice it if certain materials. Well, this here where we sewn that in, I want to take some of those strips that I made. We're going to glue them in there with a cotton so we don't have that indentation so much. Like I said, it's just a little, you know, it depends. Sometimes you wouldn't have to do it, but most of the time you do. That's a good solid piece. That's one down. And we're going to use the polyester again because it's more uniform. And then we're going to fill these stitches that are pulled down inward, that holds it together, makes it so much tighter. We're going to fill it in with a little bit of cotton, like we cut strips. And we're going to put that in there, and that'll, so you don't feel that. It's not entirely necessary, really, but it's just the way that I do it. Because we're going to try to figure if by going off of this line here, if it's going to be aesthetically pleasing to the eyes. A lot of these times with these rolled arms, they're flared out in such a way that you sometimes you have to compensate for that. You want it to be up and down, but also too, you want it to be aesthetically pleasing. And every fabric is different. You're the artist, and you got certain things that you do, and you know what works and everything. But sometimes with certain fabrics, you want to make adjustments to it. It just to your eye, it don't look right. So we're gonna pin it, and we're gonna get an idea of what we need for padding on that lower arm too. This is the front part here, so we gotta pull it a little. As we get to the front there, we're gonna pull it down just a little bit more. So that makes a big difference. This fits right where the back fits on here like this. So we got a little bit of padding there, it's okay. We always say we don't want none there, but we're always gonna have minimal, which that'll keep us from putting too much there. Now, I didn't opt for pleats there because when you look down between the back there and you have pleats going down, it just don't look right. You put the pleats in the front. I like to find myself wanting to sit down and look at this, but head on. Moving along pretty good, ain't it? All right, so what I'm doing right here is I want to keep a nice transition line. I mean, just smooth things. I don't want, to be out of, it won't really let me because I've got it set in the back there to get me too far out of whack, but we want to put tension this way. What's going to happen is going to end up having this, I don't like these pleats too far in. I mean, too far out. I like them to be more on the edge, so we're going to have to play with it for a little bit here to get it. We're going to, not quite, I'm going to pull more down this way. Like they said, this is probably the worst fabric to try to get these pleats in there. So we're going to do, and up here, we want to pull down. By doing that, it helps it a lot. We want to take in as much as we can, because once you get up here, it should be okay. Like I said, you always have this going down, too. Otherwise, if you ever seen some of the old furniture come in some old people's houses and stuff, this over here is going to have crumbs, like you just said, dust. Always faces down. When I'm doing something, I've done it for so many years that there's 2 inches right there where it's coming. That's what I tend to like. 2, 1 3/4 inches. And depending on the size of the arm, that's what we're gonna do. But see, I like this like here, but over here, it wants to fight you. But that's okay, yeah, you have to have what you have to have. So we wanna make it look like, kind of like the other one a little bit more. We got, what, 2? That's 2. All right. Up here, we want another 2. Always space them 2. Keep them, the same, because when you do the other one, offhand, you know exactly what you got to look. You don't keep going at it and stuff. So that's 2. I'm looking at the fabric right now, and it only can take so much curve, and I'm getting it where it starts to really need the curve on the angle of the arm. So we have to start making pleats. I don't want it too far high up into the arm, but I want it to be more. It's got to be facing down, and usually about 2 inches is what I do. This guy's very good, by the way, 2 inches, same as me. Now this one is gonna face up because it's gone around. That's all right. So basically, the outside arm is gonna be tacked around here and come around to here. That's where we're gonna have the tack line there. Now sometimes when you do one, you think that you did one, that the next one will be easier. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes to get with any variations in the frame or the padding or whatnot, that to get the pleats to look the same on both sides sometimes can be very difficult. It'd be the most difficult trying to get the second one to match. The idea is that you make them identical on both sides, always. Everything's identical. It's like looking in a mirror. But what a difference has this piece has come along. And the world changed while we worked on this piece. You kind of get into a zone where your body just takes over. Your mind and your body take over, and you just realize after several hours pass that it's all that what you've accomplished, and you get into it, and it's just, I think that body does that so that you're not so miserable. You know, sometimes if you don't get into something, you won't get it done. Basically, you want that pleat right about here. That's the first one. And then the other ones are 2 inches apart. You'll see what it wants to do too. See how they look the same. And they're the same height. So we want those because it's what the fabric wants to do at that angle. Two. Check, and we go 2. And I can take a piece of chalk and I'm going to make that's where the pleat's going to be. And we want to get the right angle of that too. Although the majority of that's going to be hidden behind that arm, but still, you know, like I said, you can do a good job or you can do a great job. What I want to do is a great job. And that one's kind of going straight down, so we're going to do the same thing here. It makes a difference. If you see just a little bit outside the woods right here, you'll see it, and it's going like this, you'll notice it. I do. You know, I don't like that so much, but we'll model that one a little bit to bring it more like this one. If we can. You see that? So what we're going to do is we're going to model this one. Just bring this up a little bit. It'll be a little this, a little that. To make up for the wood. Wood is not expert. You can see the way this fit. We dry fitted it. I noticed that. It's different. We're going to have to fit these again. We can kind of see right here what it looks like with the arms on at this point. This arm fits much nicer than this one. This one here is, it's the way the frame, the way the wood frame and everything isn't. Yeah, that's what I say. You gotta mess around with these old pieces. We're gonna have to adjust it. So you can see at this point now how it looks. You can see it from a distance. They come along right ways, and I think that's what we're gonna stop tonight. I think the timer's probably gonna say probably about 2 hours or something like that we got into this to get it to this point. It moves pretty quick because everything's been prepped and we were ready for this. Well, what we're doing here is we're taking our time and doing it right, but it's really coming along very, very nice. You know, we haven't had any problems, knock on wood. But anyways, that's it for tonight. And next time you'll be seeing this all put together and all that. It'll all be in one show. So, you know, it's a long day. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye. Remember, 70 by, say, 73. 70 by, no, it's not 73. What am I talking about? 70 by 33. That's right. Where's my other arm here? Oh, I'm losing my mind. So used to looking at it. I switched over to a new brand of medical marijuana today. That's why. Yes. It's doing wonders, by the way.